paper getting hard to ignore me.
Alright, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to another video. This is gonna be a short. We just started driving out of Iowa to head south to South Carolina. So this, I think, is going to be our first series, if you will. I got a question. I be getting questions in the comments that are pretty like general to where it could use like a video or a video to answer it or respond to it, and kind of just keep it on the channel because it's a question that more people will probably have. So I think I'm about to just do a section on this channel where it's just shorts, where I just answer questions that I get in the or general discussion things that I get in the comment section. And this series is just gonna be called comment section, and I'll put in the title, it'll just be comment section and then what the question was. So for this video, the question was, which I'll try to put a screenshot of the question on here if I remember, because I don't remember the name of the guy that asked, or the guy or girl that asked. But their question was pretty much they're a CDL A, they have CDL A experience, but they drive buses currently. And then the actual question was, would you recommend me buying a truck and going to JB Hunt as an owner operator? So that question, I don't know if they meant it like literal, as in, do I literally is that should they buy a truck and go to JB Hunt? Like if they was asking like that, or if they was asking if I wanted to do that, or if that was my plan, would that be something that you would recommend? So I'm gonna kind of answer it as both, if they meant both. So first, if they meant it literally, like they just chilling and I come along and I'm like, would I just come along and recommend hey man, you should buy a truck and go to JB Hunt? If they mean it like that, absolutely not. I would not recommend that, simply because I'm to the point now in my career where I don't recommend anybody get into trucking. If you want to get into trucking, I'll suggest some things and tell you what I suggest. But as far as me just saying, oh yeah, nah, you should get it, you should buy a truck and go become my own operator, nah, I can't recommend that at all. It's very rough out here, and it's not even rough just in the sense of the rates low, XYZ, all that. It's a lot that come with this. So this is not like a decision that you should take lightly, nor is it like a decision that you should ask other people. I'm not trying to bash the dude for the question or the girl for the question. I'm just saying how I feel about it. But yeah, I don't feel like this is something that you should ask somebody else, should you do this? You gotta really speak with yourself on that one and figure that out. Is this something that you really want to do? Because if you don't really love this, driving trucks and all that, and if you don't have a passion for driving trucks, this, I don't think this is something that you can come in and do just for the money. It is, but you're gonna be miserable the whole time. I have a passion for driving trucks and I'm still miserable half the time. So I could just imagine if I didn't love driving trucks. I low-key like working on them, even though it'd be pissing me off when I get broke down on or I'm having problems on the way to a load that's urgent, I don't have no time in between, I gotta get there, and I'm having problems with truck and stuff like that. Yeah, it'd be pissing me off, but I enjoy driving these trucks, and I enjoy working on them, and I enjoy them as just what it is. So for me, I get some sort of peace, in between all the craziness, because most of the rest of this industry is just craziness, just pure chaos, and it's a bunch of foolishness that make you question what the hell what you was thinking. But so for that reason, I wouldn't recommend anybody do this. Now, if you We're asking in another sense where it's like you thinking about doing it, and you asking me if that specific setup, going to JB Hunt as an owner operator, buying a truck and going to JB Hunt, if that's a decent route to take. If you already thinking about doing it and you already want to do it and all that good stuff like that, I would say yes. If with a couple of caveats to it. So one, I would not recommend. So this is just me giving a little bit of information from what I've learned and my experience so far, and the lessons I've learned. So one, I would not recommend going to JB Hunt with an SFI truck. Who else? A TEL leasing truck. I wouldn't recommend going to JB Hunt with any truck that you got to lease and pay for weekly. That's number one. I wouldn't recommend getting any truck that you got to lease and pay for weekly in the first place. But specifically going to JB Hunt, that is going to eat up too much profit, because I'll just be real, you're not going to make no crazy amount of money with JB Hunt. You might, but from what I saw and what I was able to do, I don't think you're going to make a whole bunch of money from JB Hunt. So you got to keep your overhead as low as possible. So definitely don't go over there with no high payment lease truck. That's just going to set you up for failure. Two, that's like the main thing, honestly. I feel like if you can avoid that, if you can get a truck and not have it be a weekly payment at a lease company, you already kind of setting yourself up for success. So just off rip, because overhead is one of the most important factors in whether you're gonna be able to sustain doing this. Like, yeah, you might be able to come into this and do it for a little while with a high overhead, but the only way you're gonna be able to sustainably do this over a long period of time is if you have low overhead, because the rates it doesn't support a high overhead operation. Now that's not to say, like, if you get into something specific and you get a contract offer with somebody or something like that, that's not to say that you can't do it. That's just to say that in the majority of situations, it's not gonna work out for you. Me and everybody that I've seen that has done well in this industry, not saying that I've done well or I'm doing well, because it's like I told you, this shit rough, but I'm still, it's been 8 months or whatever, going on 9 months, something like that. I mean, I still got my truck. I navigated a couple breakdowns and whatnot, a couple company changes, but I still have my truck and I'm still doing this almost a year later. So in my book, that's an accomplishment in itself. So everybody that I've seen that has been successful in this, or the most of the people that I've seen that has been successful in this owner operator situation is people that operate with low overhead. They don't have some crazy truck payment. They're not leasing a truck for $1,400 a week, and then leasing a trailer on top of that, and then giving somebody the X amount of percentage and paying deductions out all that. So I gotta make sure I know where I'm going. I gotta make a left up ahead. So yeah, like, overhead is the main thing. So JB Hunt specifically, because they taking 35% out of the gross. So you automatically, if you grow 7,000 in a week, that's already, what is that? 35% of 7,000 is roughly what, 21, 24, 50, roughly like $2,400-$2,500, something like that. So you already, before you factor in fuel, tolls, insurance, all that stuff, you already knocked down to what's that, 4,600 or something like that, before you factor in anything else. And fuel off a week, if you grow 7,000, your fuel bill probably 1,300-1,400. Oh, it's not this turn. Probably 1300, 1400. Plus, you still got the deductions. You still got tolls if you ran tolls that week. All this other stuff. So you can make decent money, but you're not grossing no crazy amount of money. You're getting a very average amount of money over there. It's just consistently average. It was what I kind of saw. So keep your overhead low. Do not go over there with a lease truck, SFI truck with no high monthly payment, high weekly payments. If you're gonna pay payments for a truck, because I forgot what their age limit on a truck is. But if you want like a newer truck and all that, and you getting payments on it, either go to a dealership if you got money saved up for a down payment. It's like if you got 10-15,000 saved up that you could drop on the truck, go to a dealership and get you something with a decent, monthly payment, and try to get a warranty on it if it's coming from the dealership. Or go to Long Mountain. That's kind of the only, because technically Long Mountain is still a lease purchase in terms of like the contract. So I guess you kind of got to still categorize it as a lease, but that's the only lease company, lease purchase situation that I would recommend. And that's because they got the monthly payment, the low down payments, and everything's just fixed. Like, you know what it is before you even do the application. So the application ain't even dependent on, damn, this still not the right term. So the terms of the truck is not dependent on your credit, nothing like that. You know what it is from the website before you even apply. And when you apply, it's the same thing. Like, nothing changes, nothing like that. So for instance, they got the truck online and you interested in it, it says 3,000 down, 1,500 a week for 36 months. That's what it is when you apply. It's going to be the same exact thing. It's not going to change not one bit throughout the whole 36 months. It's not going to change. It's going to be the same exact thing. And then on the 36th month, when you pay it off, or when you make that last payment, I haven't gotten there yet, but supposedly when you make that last payment, you get a title. It's your truck. So I don't know any other lease situations like that. So for that reason, that's the only, like, Long Mountain's the only one I could suggest like that. So I would say get something like that. Even with Long Mountain, you can still fall into like high monthly payments with them if you want a brand new truck. I would not suggest get a brand new truck, especially with JB Hunt and all that, because what's the purpose? There's no purpose to get a brand new truck with them. If you want to get a brand new truck and go with like Landstar or something where you kind of more in control of whatever you got going on, all that stuff like that, you could make more money, more gross, then that's up to you. But going to JB Hunt, I would not suggest no brand new truck. Get a used truck from Long Mountain or a dealership, get a warranty on it that covers the engine and after treatment, and hopefully the transmission too. But I know a lot of people don't sell trucks with transmission warranties for some reason. But get you something with a warranty, and I think you'll be pretty good as long as you can keep that monthly payment down. I would suggest, like, don't get nothing more than like $1,500 a month, man. That's where I'm at, and that's honestly, like, if I could go back, I probably. I mean, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't get the truck because of the $1,500, but I would have much rather getting something cheaper, just because that allows you more flexibility. Like, okay, y'all, I thought my recording has stopped. Yeah, so just because that allows you more flexibility, man, to like move how you need to move. So yeah, like, it's a couple instances, like let's say I had weekly payments when I transitioned from JB Hunt to that other company to this company I'm at now. That would have, like, I would have been in a real bad situation, because the reason I had left JB Hunt was I wasn't making high enough gross over there, and then I had an issue with the truck with the fan clutch, so I couldn't really run how I wanted to, because I had to stay off the mountains, and I couldn't pull anything too heavy. So until I figured out how to get that fixed, and my warranty doesn't cover the fan clutch, so it covers engine components, but it doesn't cover the fan clutch. That's like considered an external component, I guess. So So when I left them, it was kind of because I had to leave them because I just wasn't making enough money at that specific point in time. Not to say that I wasn't making enough money in general, but at that time I wasn't making enough money, so I had to do something. I had to switch something up real quick. So when I went to the other company, I ended up sitting for like a week because they ran into some problems getting involved with my registration or something like that. So I ended up having to sit for like a week and a half or something like that. And I already had, like I said, I wasn't making that much money coming out of JB at the end of JB Hunt anyway. So I ended up having to sit for a week and a half, and then starting up at that company, I still had to figure stuff out, X, Y, Z. So I didn't make decent money that first week or two either. Had I had $1,200 a week in truck payments, I would not have survived that. So, because that's already, like I just told you, we talking about like 4 weeks of no to extremely low revenue. So that's $4,800 in truck payments on top of the bills that I already have at home and everything like that, top of insurance and all that. So like that's what I'm saying. Like stuff get high real quick. And I'm kind of rambling, but it is what it is. I'm just getting some stuff off my mind anyway. So, what you call it? What I'm saying. So yeah, that's what I would suggest. That's the biggest thing. We're going to JB Hunt and getting the truck, being an owner operator, all that good stuff over there. Keep your overhead low. The insurance that they're gonna give you is gonna be pretty decent. That's another thing. If you don't have a brand new truck, if you get a used truck, your physical damage insurance goes by the value of your truck. So the cheaper the truck is, the less you pay in physical damage. I know a brand new truck, I've heard them up to like $800 a month, something like that. My truck is generally around like $300 a month for just the physical damage portion of it. Is usually around like $300 a month. And then the auto liability is usually maybe like an extra $50 or something like that. But just for the physical damage alone, it's usually like $300, $250 to $300. So that's extra expense with getting a high payment truck to a brand new truck. I mean, which most of those lease trucks are brand new trucks. That's why the payment's so high. So second, what I would suggest as far as going to JB Hunt as an owner operator is call a recruiter and ask them to kind of run you through the general loads in the area that you live in. So for instance, they have a lot of loads in Chicago area, obviously. They got a lot of loads in the whole Midwest, really. Chicago, Ohio. I think they got some. I don't think they have as many loads in Indiana, but they do have a decent amount of loads in Indiana. They got a lot of loads in the Northeast, like Maryland, New Jersey area, Pennsylvania. They got some loads, but they don't always pay the best coming out of Pennsylvania, but they pay pretty decent going into Pennsylvania, if I recall correctly. They got a lot of loads in Texas. Hit or miss. Sometimes you find a decent load. Sometimes you're not gonna find nothing paying decent. What else? I'm trying to remember where else they had decent loads at. I mean, that was kind of it. So like the Northeast, Midwest, and Texas. So they got a lot of loads going into Florida like everybody else. They don't have much loads coming out of Florida at all, and the ones that they do have are all coming out of North Florida, like I-75 and I-10 area, somewhere around that region. Some coming out of Jacksonville, not a whole lot, but they do have some coming out of Jacksonville. But for me, leaving home was always a problem. Which I live in Florida, so it's gonna be a problem regardless of where I go. But getting into Florida was usually pretty good with JB Hunt. I could usually get a pretty good load going into Florida. Somewhat enough to offset the load coming out. So you wouldn't really notice it too much as long as you get something decent coming out. So kind of like figure out where wherever you live, call them, talk to a recruiter, and kind of figure out what the loads look like in that area, just so you can know because that affects how long you need to be out to be able to make how much money you're trying to make. So if you live in somewhere like Chicago, obviously you can be home damn near every other day if you really want to. You just stay in that area, that Midwest area, out and back all the time, and just pass through the house, because they have loads going over to, they got some loads going down to like Kansas, Arkansas, all that type of stuff like that. So if you want to pass through Illinois all the time and just stop at home but stay moving, you can do that too, probably. So that's another key thing, is figure out how much money you want. Because at the end of the day, man, that's the thing with this owner operator stuff, is I feel like a lot of people kind of do it backwards. But figure out what you want first of all, and then just figure out companies that either meet or don't meet those requirements. So like for me, I know when I was buying this truck and I was going from a company driver back to this owner operator stuff, I already had a list of things that I needed. So one of the top things on there was I didn't want to be dispatched to where I go out and I'm just out for a certain amount of time, however long they deem, and I got to give them 2 weeks out, and I get 2 days off and all that kind of stuff. Like, I didn't want that at all. And even more than that, I wanted access to a load board where I could dispatch myself. So especially if it's internal freight to where I'm not dealing with brokers and stuff, I want to dispatch myself completely. So I don't want anybody asking me when I'm going home or when I'm coming back out. So JB Hunt, a couple other companies had checked that box off, but JB Hunt checked that box off. I didn't want to pay for a trailer, overhead reasons again, but that kind of is a catch-22, because if you're not paying for a trailer, you're paying a higher percentage, so you're still kind of paying for the trailer. But I didn't want like a weekly payment for a trailer, and I also didn't want to maintain a trailer. So usually when you don't pay for the trailer, you're not worrying about any trailer maintenance, which is the case at JB Hunt. So I'm about to wrap this video up in a minute because it's getting too long and I'm saying I'm running out of storage. But those were like 2 of the things I had. And then 3, I had kind of came up with a number that I was trying to reach every week, which my number was take home $3,500 or $3,000 to $3,500 a week take home after all expenses, the paycheck that hit my bank account, even after my truck payment, which that's obviously ain't got nothing to do. Yeah, damn. So obviously that don't have anything to do with JB Hunt, but I still calculate that as part of the money that come out of my gross. So after all expenses, essentially, I wanted $3,000 to $3,500. From the numbers that I did, what the recruiter had told me, everything like that, and from what I had seen on YouTube from other people that worked over there, I kind of figured that was doable. $3,500 was definitely on like the high end, it seemed like, but $3,000 to me seemed at that, going into it, seemed like that was more than doable. So that's why I went over there, man. I figured out what I wanted, and this is what I'm going to say to sum up this video and answer this question. Figure out what you want out of this. Dude, what are you doing? Like, it's completely clear in front of you, bro. What did you take us so long to cross the road for? Like, what the hell? So yeah, man, to sum up this video, figure out what it is you want and work backwards. Figure out what you want, find a company, or figure out what company matches that, and go from there. It might be the case that you figure out what it is you want and you can't find any companies that match what you want. In that case, that's perfectly okay. That clearly means that you figuring this out with yourself probably shouldn't buy a truck and go be an owner operator. If realistically what you want, you can't really line anything up with that, it probably don't make sense to be an owner operator. Or it probably don't make sense to buy a truck and be an owner operator. It might make sense to go. It depends on what you want out of it, because it might, like people bash Prime all the time, and I'm one of them. I don't like Prime whatsoever. I don't agree with nothing they got going on over there. I don't agree with being a driver over there, period. But I could understand how some people wouldn't care, because just me off principle, I can't vibe with nothing they got going on. But some people don't care about the things that I care about. So All they're looking at is they pay for the trail, or they provide you a trailer. They providing you the loads for the most part. They providing you the loads for the most part. You getting all this help, XYZ, all that good stuff, and then all in turn, all you gotta do is pay this high weekly payment for this truck, and cover all these expenses. And at the end of the day, you could probably still make what you make as a company driver, but you get the benefit of, saying you can go home whenever you want to go home and all that good stuff like that. Even though I feel like with all them payments, you can't really go home at all. So, but, some people feel like since they don't care about the things that I care about, those benefits make sense to them, which is, it is what it is. You do you. In this trucking, that's what it is. You do what works for you. But if that's what you want, if you just want a little bit more autonomy and you don't care really about making more money, you just want more autonomy, I guess, over what you got going on, and you want to say, okay, I want to go to here, or I want to be able to deny loads and take pick a load that I want to do instead of doing whatever they tell me in XYZ, and have a truck that you feel like it's yours for the time being. If it's a walkaway lease with them, then cool, man, go be at Prime by all means. Or if you feel like you need complete autonomy over your operation and you're not going to accept certain things and whatnot, a company like Landstar, or better yet, your own authority might be what you're looking for. But if none of that kind of check the boxes that you need them to check, then it might make sense to just stay, go be a company driver. Because you probably I'm just gonna keep it real with you, with like everybody that's watching this. There is a ton of cases where as a company driver, you will make more money than being an owner operator. I promise you that 100%. Like, when I was at the company I was at before I bought this truck, my gross for the year was on track to be like 105,000. I was at Speedway doing fuel hauling. My gross was on track because I only worked there for, I forgot how much, I think like 8 months or something like that. But my gross was on track to be $104,000, $105,000 for the year, somewhere around there. And that's not even factoring in like 401k contribution, like 401k match that they do, and bonuses for the year and stuff like that. Like I was making roughly $2,000 a week, and obviously I work every week. You don't have a week off like how you be when you're over the road. I was working every week, and I was making about $2,000 a week gross. So that's already $104,000 for the year, and then when you factor in like the 401k match, I think that was an extra, I forgot how much that was a year. The bonuses, that was gonna be like an extra $10,000 for the year if I got all the bonuses for all 4 quarters. Yeah, man, like it was like, that's not no little bit of money in trucking. Like, that's some decent money. Like, at the end of it, you telling me I was gonna walk away grossing somewhere closer to like 120,000 for the year doing fuel hauling. Like, that's good money right there. 9 times out of 10 as an owner operator, you're not making that, because gross, that's 120. Take home, that would have been like 85, somewhere around there, probably like 85. Yeah, I would say probably like 85,000 take home. Man, you're not, like, being an owner operator take home, you're not gonna see that in a lot of cases. Like, it just is what it is. That's another thing too, man. Like, do the numbers, really do the numbers, figure out expenses, figure out how much money you plan on making, how much money you estimate you should be able to make at certain places or whatever it is, and figure out if that's gonna work for you, and if being an owner operator is really the thing that makes sense, because it might not be. So I'm gonna go ahead and conclude this video, man. This has been a very long episode of comment section. So yeah, we're gonna continue this drive on down to South Carolina, come out of some of this snow. Well, it ain't snowing now. I think we pretty much cleared for the whole drive down there out of this area. The wind is pretty low. I don't think I'm getting on I-80. think I'm going on US 218. I'm on US 30 right now. I think I'm going on US 218 and taking that all the way south down to like St. Louis area. And then from St. Louis, hop on to I could go across 80 back past like Illinois area and through Indiana and all that, and go down and into Tennessee. You looking for something? That bird hunting something. Yeah, and cut across, go down Tennessee and go across the mountain. I'll go across 40 into North Carolina and South Carolina and all that. I don't feel like doing that with how heavy this load is. And like I said, I have hella time until I need to get to where I'm going. Or I don't know if I said that, but I got hella time until I get, need to be where I'm going. So I'm just gonna take the long way, which is straight south out of Iowa down into St. Louis, get on 55, I believe it is, go into Tennessee on 55, go around Memphis it's a US route that takes you around Memphis down to 22. I believe it's 22. Yeah, man, y'all know the road going from Memphis to Birmingham. Get on that road, go to or is it Birmingham? Alabama? I think it's Birmingham. Or is it some place in Mississippi? Man, look, I get on the road, leaving out of Alabama, Mississippi, Memphis area into Alabama. Take that to I-20 and take I-20 all the way across to South Carolina, Columbia. So that's what I'm gonna end up doing. It's only adding like an extra hour, and it's gonna keep me out of pretty much all the mountains, because I'm so sick and tired of dealing with mountains at this point. Especially with a heavy load. If this load would have been lighter, if this load would have been like 30,000, I would have went there, no problem. But being at like 43,000 almost, I'm cool on the mountains for right now. We going the long route, the scenic route, I guess you could say, because I'm on a damn US route all the way down to St. Louis, and then back on another US route around Memphis. So we just gonna take it slow and cool all the way down there to South Carolina, man. Yeah, so that's it for this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Drop any questions y'all have in the comment section, and I might answer it on a video format like this. Or I'll just get back to you in the comment section if it's kind of like a specific question. Or I don't see like the benefit of making a video and putting it on the channel. So yeah, don't worry about my rumble strip situation right there. So yeah, that's about it, man. Drop a comment, ask me some questions. I think this will be a cool little section to where I just post some driving footage and talk to y'all a little bit, answer some questions, all that good stuff like that. These probably gonna end up being slightly longer videos, because I'm gonna be answering questions and also just talking about random things that come to my mind while I'm answering these questions. So because this ain't like a scripted thing that I'll be doing, I'ma just genuinely respond to the question as I talk it out with myself. So yeah, man, that's what it is. Catch y'all on the next one.
Fear no man, cause I prayed this morning. Get to the paper, getting hard to ignore me.